welcome to Firebird Stadium for a special edition of the Lakota Sports Watch this week. I am Bill Bretz, and we are coming to you on the night of the game, East versus West. The big game of the season and week number 10 here of the football season, and we're going to have a lot to talk about that game here in a little while. But we've got some other things to talk about first, and first thing we're going to do is talk about the non-football sports. And we'll start with volleyball. In the sectionals at Lakota East, East beat Coleraine in 3 games, and then they beat St. Ursula in 3 games. In the sectional finals, East will play McCallie on Saturday the 27th at 2 o'clock at Lebanon High School. At Withrow High School, West beat Hamilton in 3 games, and then they beat Sycamore from the GMC in 3 games in the sectional finals. West will go on to the district, and they will play Troy also on the 27th on Saturday at 3:30, and that game will be also at Lebanon High School. So both East and West will be playing district final games at Lebanon High School on Saturday the 27th. And girls soccer sectionals, unfortunately, both the East and West teams are done with the soccer season. West lost to Loveland 2-0, and East lost to Oak Hills 2-0, or I think I'm supposed to say 2-0. So I guess that'd be politically correct for soccer right there. Boys soccer sectional, East did lose to Elder 3-1, but West, still 4th in the state in soccer, beat Milford 4-0, and then in the sectional final, they beat Sycamore 2-0 to advance to the district final. In the district final, which was held about 24 hours ago, West beat Xenia 2-0. Thank you very much. And they will now go to the regional finals, semifinals, October 31st. They're going to play on Halloween night at 7 o'clock. They're going to hopefully stir up a little scare for Wayne, because that's who they're going to go against. That's going to be at Sycamore Junior High School at their stadium over there. And West 16-1-2 in the season. And last year, they made it to the regional finals, so they're looking to get back to the regional finals here. So good luck to the Lakota West and soccer there. As far as district cross country goes, well, not a bad afternoon this past week over at Mason High School. In the boys, West was 7th, but East was 2nd. They were runner-up, and they will qualify as a team to the regionals. The Thunderhawks had 66 points. And just to make a note, as 2 other GMC schools, Mason finished 1st and Sycamore 4th, so GMC going to be well represented up there. Matt Rice, top runner for Lakota East. 15:57 was his time. He's a senior. Junior Ben Call was 4th place. They were 3rd and 4th, and Ben ran a 15:58. David Jagger was 14th. Andrew Springer 16th, and Tyler Anderson 29th rounded out the scoring here for East. As far as the girls go, in the A race, West was 7th. Kelly McManus finished 16th. She'll be the last qualifiers, top 16 go. So she was made the last qualifying spot there for Lakota West, so she'll be moving on to regionals. In the B race, East was 7th, but they will have 2 runners qualifying as individuals, and both of them did quite well. Sophomore Abby Van Fossen finished 2nd, 18:23. She was only 3 seconds behind the winner. And senior Kelly Burles was 3rd, 19:02. Now, the individual runners and the East team will move on to Troy on the 27th for the regional cross-country meet. There along the Miami River behind the Troy Memorial Stadium, a beautiful course up there. The top 4 teams, top 16. If you finish in the top 16, you will go on to state. So good luck to those runners up there. And finally, the state tennis championships were held this past weekend up in the Columbus area. And East and West were represented by doubles teams, okay? The West team of Tori Turner and Nicole Salter made it to the top 8 before they eventually lost to the 3rd place team, Columbus Bishop Watterson. On the East team, and both of those girls, by the way, are seniors. On the East team, senior Taylor Holden and sophomore Mandy Mawak also made it to the final 8. They lost to the eventual 4th place team. Now, Taylor Holden, quite a story about that young lady from East. You know, it's one thing about making it to a state championship. It's hard to make it a state championship in any sport. To make it 4 times, that's something special. And Taylor has made it 4 straight years to the state championship in tennis. Now, we were going to talk with her this week, and the day we were going to do the interview, found out she was out on a college visit. Yeah, it's a good place to be, Taylor. So, Taylor, the bat signal is out for you if you're watching this. We're going to catch up with you in a couple weeks or so, and we're going to find out what it's like being a 4-time state qualifier. All right, well, after these messages, we'll come back, and we'll be talking about the game tonight.
The final game of the week for Friday Night Football. The Thunderhawks take to the road to do battle with the Firebirds. West has maintained the edge over East since 2005 and has held on to the coveted Lakota Cup ever since. Both teams always have something to prove in what will surely be another East versus West classic. See it here on Friday Night Football's Game of the Week. Tune in on Friday at 11:30 p.m. only on Westchester Community Television.
And Bill Brett's back here at Firebird Stadium. And you can probably see from the background, it's a bit wet out there right now. Well, I think we'll be talking about that a little bit more as the evening goes on. So it's the game. It's the 15th annual battle between East and West. Of course, the Lakota School District several years ago, actually 16 years ago, split into 2 schools. The first year they did not play, but they have played since that time. West holds the edge in the whole classic there, although East kind of dominated the first few years. They won 5 of the first 7 battles, but West has won the last 7 in a row. So that's what's going to happen tonight. Now let's take a look at the GMC standings, because it's interesting how the standings go with this game this year. So this is how the GMC is looking at, and you can see Colerain on top, 6-0, 9-0, Lakota West and Lakota East. Now, combined right now, they have 14 wins coming into this game. And Lakota West is in second, and Lakota East is actually in fourth right now, tied for fourth with Mason. So both teams have done quite well this year. And now let's look at that East-West series. We talked about the series, how it goes, and we'll see how they have done over the years. And there we go. And said they did not play the first year that the 2 teams split. And as we said, East won the first 5 of the first 7. And then West has come on here for the last 7 years, winning every game since 2005, including last year's game. Now, last year's game was a good one, a very interesting game last year. A very close game, as many of these games have been close games. At least half of them have been 2 touchdowns or less. Let's take a look at last year's highlights of that game. In last year's game between the Firebirds and the Thunderhawks, most of the really important action happened in the last few minutes of game. With 4:31 to go, East took a 20-19 lead when Eric Eichler pitched to Nate Mays, and he went 65 yards for the score. On the ensuing kickoff, West would take over at their own 30-yard line. The Firebirds then would drive down the field. The big play came on a 4th and 8 at the East 33-yard line. Grove finds Kewan Ross for a 29-yard reception and a 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. 3 plays later, Grove finds Ross in the end zone for the winning score. All right. Well, you can see that was a great game last year, and who knows what's going to be like here tonight if we're going to have another one just like that last year. Well, Westchester Community Television has been doing a great job covering both East and West this season. What we're going to do right now is we're going to put a little highlight package together of both East and West games that Westchester Community Television has done. Lakota East started the season with a 42-7 rout of Western Hills. Will Mahone had 3 first-quarter touchdown runs. The first one was 37 yards. Then he came back with a 2-yard. And finally, a 27-yard touchdown. Mahone had 143 total yards in that first East victory. Lakota West started the season in the Skyline Crosstown Showdown at Nippert Stadium against LaSalle. Early on, it was the West defense that shined. Luke Scott with the interception that led to a Justin Martin field goal. A little later, Tyler Cross picked off another LaSalle pass. This time he ran it back 17 yards for a touchdown. But East transfer Mikael Horton was the offense for the Firebirds. The running back had 240 yards rushing, including this 62-yard run. Later on, he added a 15-yard touchdown run. Justin Martin 3 for 3 in field goals as the Firebirds win 46-34 over the Lancers. East's second game was against a tough Winton Woods team, a former FAVC team and now independent. The game was close all the way. Once again, Will Mahone had a 3-touchdown game. In the first quarter, he scored from 26 yards out. In the second quarter, another 2-yard touchdown run. With 1:34 to go in the fourth quarter, Mahone scored on a 4-yard run, but it was not enough as the Thunderhawks fall 25-20 to the Warriors. On the Comets' first possession, Tyler Cross with the first of his 2 interceptions of the night. 7 plays later, Mikael Horton scores from 2 yards out. West defense held GMC's leading rusher, Daryl Johnson, to 98 yards and a 4.1 average, his lowest of the season. Punter Cole Gentry pulled off the perfect fake as he ran 35 yards for a first down to set up a West field goal. In the third quarter, Malik Grove hooked up with Grant Pence for a 27-yard score. Mikael Horton's third touchdown of the night gave the Firebirds a 30-0 lead. 2 late touchdowns by Mason made the final Lakota West 30, Mason 13. The Middies came to do battle at the Hawks' Nest against Lakota East. 42 seconds into the game, Middletown quarterback Jalen Marshall showed why he is one of the top 50 players in the United States as he ran 81 yards to the house for a score. The Thunderhawks came back on the next possession as Jamana Palmore went 38 yards for a score. The Thunderhawks built a 20-7 lead. Will Mahone on a 3-yard run. And then quarterback Eric Eichler hit Nate Mays on a beautiful 27-yard pass. On the ensuing kickoff, William Peters ran the ball back 100 yards. Now that would tie the state of Ohio for the longest kickoff return, but an illegal block in the back brought that ball back to the East 20-yard line. In the third quarter, Eric Eichler faked and then ran it in from 5 yards out. Later on in the same quarter, Eichler again on another fake, this time 8 yards out for a score. He then scored the 2-point PAT to put the Thunderhawks up by 20 at that time. They ended up downing the Middies 34-20. 0-5 Princeton took on a 5-0 West Firebirds team in week number 6. Malik Grove looks for a receiver, then scrambles for a 13-yard touchdown run. William Blevins' 5-yard pass from Terrell Gilbert gave Princeton a 12-7 second quarter lead, the first time this season that West has been behind in a game. West, though, answers with a 36-yard pass from Grove to Jaron Higginbottom. Princeton took a lead again on a Blevins 1-yard run. The Vikes led at the half, 18-14. It was all Firebirds the second half. First off, Grove from 5 yards out. Then Cole Gentry, a 35-yard run for a score. Grove again from 1 yard out. Malik Grove again from 4 yards out for a career-high 4-touchdown night. West got good field position all night as a result of special teams play. Sophomore Michael Chambers averaged 24 yards on 3 punt returns. Jawan Holmes averaged 26.5 yards on 2 returns. West goes on to win 42-18. It was homecoming night in Hawks Nest. Sycamore Aviators coming to play football there, and they scored first, but missed the PAT and went up 6-0. East came back, though, as Bobby Brown on a 20-yard run, and Nick Gasser's PAT afterwards put Lakota East up 7-6. But from that point on, it was all Greg Simpson. The Aviator quarterback had 193 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns as the Sycamore Aviators down the Lakota East Thunderhawks 28-7. It was senior night as Larry Cox leads his Firebirds onto the field against the Middletown Middies. In the first quarter, Stan Hairston recovers a fumble on the Middletown 10-yard line. Malik Grove wastes no time on the next play. He hits Justin Martin from 10 yards out for the first score. Martin's PAT is good, 7-0 West. Second quarter, Michael Horton, 4-yard run for the touchdown. He'll have 103 yards for the night. Martin's kick was blocked, 13-0 Firebirds. Later on in the second quarter, Tyler Cross came up with his first of 2 interceptions for the game. That set up the third score. This time, Cole Gentry, 4 yards out. Martin's kick good. Score at halftime, 20-0, Dakota West. Third quarter, Michael Carter picks off Jalen Marshall and runs this one all the way back to the house, 57 yards. Martin kick, and West was up 27-0. And then in a very freaky play, Jalen Marshall hands off to Levante Glover. Glover fumbles the football. Play is not called dead. Marshall picks it up and runs it 53 yards into the end zone. Now Marshall will have 165 yards for the night, 53 on that play. The rest of the night he was held to less than a 5-yard average. Final score, Lakota West 27, Middletown 14. Oh, thanks to Mike Lyons for putting together all those highlights. Of course, if you haven't watched our Lakota Sports Watch shows, we had those on previously. But anyway, it's good to see those highlights all over again. Brings back some memories for the season. Well, let's turn to this past week. And this past week, East is coming into this game tonight with a win, 41-28 over Fairfield. Interesting, they got 372 yards on the ground, only 19 in the air, but they didn't need it. It was all ground game, which they've basically been doing that most of the season. Will Mahone had 23 rushes, 176 yards for 3 touchdowns. Jake Chestnut had a blocked punt return for a touchdown. And Hayden Sanger, he got a pass in there, a 19-yard pass for a TD for Lakota East. As far as Lakota West goes, well, I think we saved the wildest highlights for last. They had a game, of course, last week at Colerain, and that game had a lot of implications on number 1 and number 2 in the city, GMC on the line, of course, obviously some Harbins on the line here, and man, what a game. Boy, did the people get their money's worth on that one, and did we get our money's worth on highlights. This is a highlights from the West Colerain game from last week. It was the battle of the top 2 teams in the city with the GMC crown on the line. West scores first against Colerain on a Malik Grove 2-yard run. The next possession for Colerain, Butch Cheney recovers an Alpha Ransby fumble. The next play, Grove hits Dustin Parker, and the Firebirds were up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, Justin Martin's 25-yard field goal puts West up 17-0. 2 Colerain touchdowns cut that score to 17-14. Martin's second field goal of the quarter, this one from 27 yards, makes it 20-14 Firebirds. Colerain scored one more time, put the Cardinals up 21-20 at the half. The second half was a classic shootout at OK Corral. Martin's third field goal of the night, again 27 yards, puts West up 23-21. Colerain answers on an Alpha Ransby, the Trayvon Hudson 40-yard score. On the next possession, Grove scores on a 4-yard run. Martin's PAT gives West a 30-28 lead, which will prove to be their last one of the night. Colerain would score 3 straight touchdowns, including 2 by Alfred Ransby. He would have 230 yards rushing for the night. 3:20 to go. Grove scores from 3 yards out, his third touchdown of the night, to make it a 2-score game. West successfully pulls off the onside kick as Jawan Holmes recovers. But on the next play, Lonell Brown picks off Grove and runs it back 77 yards for the touchdown. West would score last on a 31-yard pass from Grove to Tyler Jones. The final score, Colerain 57, Lakota West 44. And what did I tell you weren't there the wildest highlights we've seen all season? Well, after these messages, we'll come back and hear from the coaches.
The final game of the week for Friday Night Football. The Thunderhawks take to the road to do battle with the Firebirds. West has maintained the edge over East since 2005 and has held on to the coveted Lakota Cup ever since. Both teams always have something to prove in what will surely be another East versus West classic. See it here on Friday Night Football's Game of the Week. Tune in on Friday at 11:30 p.m. only on Westchester Community Television.
We're going to be watching that game, obviously, that you heard on the PSA right there. Well, we had a chance to talk to both of the coaches this week and about their feelings about this game and also about what happened this past week for both the teams. First coach we talked to, Rick Haynes from Lakota East. Well, Coach, first off, let's talk about the win last week, a big win over Fairfield, and you did it mostly on the ground there, and over 300 yards rushing on the ground. Understand that Eric Eichler was not 100%, but Will Mahone, the rest of them made up for it.
We played really well in the first half. We were up 34-7, I think, at half, and Hayden Singer came in and started the game and got us off to a good start, rushed for a touchdown and threw a touchdown pass, so we were really pleased with that.
He has a great quarterback rating right now. He's 1 for 1 with a touchdown pass. That's got to feel good for him.
Doesn't get any better than that, I don't think.
there it is. Now, I know you had a couple of disappointing losses in the weeks before that. I know it's kind of tough. I guess the silver lining is right now you're going to have the first winning season for East since 2005, and mathematically, you're still alive in the playoffs.
Well, I guess I haven't really given that much thought. We just kind of want to concentrate on the opponent at hand and make sure we can go out there and play our best game.
All right. And speaking of that opponent on hand, okay, you got West this week. It's the annual battle. Talking to Coach Larry Cox, he's been here ever since the beginning. This is only, your third year, I believe, for this. So what's your thoughts on this game?
Well, it's not really my third. My son played here for 3 years.
Okay, so as a parent.
I was a parent or a spectator for 3. It's exciting. Anytime you end your season with a great rivalry game like that, it always gives the kids something to play for. And so, we're excited to be a part of it.
Well, how's your kids at practice this week? I mean, it's a big deal, I'm sure, to these kids. A lot of them, they know these kids, they're neighbors. They've played through Tomahawk and all the other football programs. So it's really big for the kids, especially your seniors.
Well, yeah, I think it's big for all of them, and they've been really focused and really concentrating and doing a great job this week at practice.
All right, let's see if the mathematics works for us, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
That would be great.
All right. Now let's hear from Lakota West coach Larry Cox. All right, Coach, what can I say? What a wild game. I tell you, you've been coaching all these years. Is this one of the wildest games you've ever been involved in last week with Coleraine?
Well, I know this. The people that paid for their tickets got their money's worth and then some. I can't fault our kids' effort. We gave a great effort, and we were leading in the wrong quarters. We led the first and the third, not the second and the fourth. So, hats off to Coleraine. They did what they had to do in the end to win the game, and we needed one more stop than what we could get. But you learn from it, you lick your wounds, you heal them up, and you move on to the next week.
Towards the end of the game there, where you scored and then you did the onside kick, recovered it. Jawan Holmes, great job of recovering the onside kick, and then kind of the dagger went in on the next play here when Malik was intercepted.
And you know what? It was the right play called. He underthrew the ball. If he overthrows the ball, we're behind him, and it's a completely different play. But you learn from that. You look at some of the other plays he made that kept you there. So, definitely the good outweigh the bad in that respect. It's one of those things where, you put 44 points on Coleraine, you got to feel pretty good about yourself, and you learn from it. It's just, we got to make some defensive adjustments, and I think there was a couple special teams things we could have done a little differently to help our cause as well. But, it was a great game. It's a great game for high school football, and, as I told the kids, it's only a loss if we don't learn from it. So I think we're doing that.
All right. Let's talk about this week. Let's look ahead to the game this week. Probably more than anybody else in this school district, you are familiar with this East-West game. I mean, you've been involved with this as long as anybody. Your thoughts on the game this week?
Well, obviously it's East-West, and all the little sayings that go with it, throw the records out, it's anybody's ball game, and it truly is. It's really turned into one of those great rivalries, and it's something we knew would happen, 16 years ago when we opened the doors, and it'll be one of those great games like last week. You've got two good teams, two passionate teams, and two teams that have a lot of pride about what they do. So, I really expect a good ball game.
And, this year, last few years, it's always a big game. This year, playoff implications on this game, because technically right now Lakota East is still alive in the playoffs. So, this is a meaningful game in another sense this year.
Well, yeah, and it's still meaningful for us as well. So, it does have big implications, and, it's the type of game Lakota, I'm sure, wants, because, you got two great teams battling for, playoff, and it's like a playoff game number one as you head into it, as opposed to the postseason. Lakota East and West are just starting a week early.
A lot of these players, we're living in a district here where some of these kids are next door neighbors almost to the kids, and I think especially to the seniors on both teams. The seniors, this is huge. They want to go out with the win with this.
Well, we've got seniors in here that play tomahawk football, or junior high football with the kids over at East. So, it's bragging rights for a long time. And, I told him, I said, it's bragging rights, but, 20 years from now when you go to those reunions, you can say you won and nobody can argue with you because they'll forget by then. But
the score will get bigger, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. But, it's a good community game. It hallmarks what's good about our community, that, you're looking at two teams that, in all the negativity of our district right now, you've got two teams that are rising above and saying we're successful because we can be, not because of what's supposedly holding us back. So, I think that's a credit to both programs.
Good luck, Coach. I hope we're talking to you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right. Well, I think both coaches summed it up what this game means to the players and to the people of the school district. And I didn't really think that Larry and I were doing that interview in a hurricane, but it sounded like that right now. But anyway, let's take a look now at the starters and also at the officials of tonight's game. And we see them up there. First off, for East, there's their starters. The starters on offense right now. And you look down there at Will Mahone. He is one of the top rushers in the league right now. Chamana Palmore is coming off of an injury. He's actually had a broken knuckle, I believe, in a Middletown game, but hopefully we'll be seeing him tonight. And they run, basically they run that offense that stays on the ground there. Eric Eichler does not go very much into the air. The defense right now, one of the best, fourth best in the GMC right now, as you can see the defensive starters right there for Lakota East. Now Lakota West, the offense for Lakota West, well, you can see it's been basically about the same offense all season right now. Wide receiver Tyler Jones, of course, split the duties last year with Malik Grove in quarterbacking, but he has been basically wide receiver all year. And Jared Higginbotham, we are going to see him quite a bit tonight, and he has really come on the last 2 or 3 weeks for them. And then here is the West starting defense. Boy, I tell you, there's been so many times we have mentioned these guys have done such a great job. Last week, gave up 57 points, but, that's Cole Rain. But Tyler Cross, got to watch him here tonight. If he gets an interception in this game tonight, he will break the single-season record for Lakota West as far as
interceptions go. And I think we're going to look at our officials here tonight. I'm not sure. We're going to look at the home of the Firebirds. There's our officials tonight. And John Sagers, there's a familiar name. The Sagers family, very big in officiating. So there's your officials here for tonight's game. All right, so we said it is the game tonight. The cliche is you throw out all the records and everything, but we're going to throw out the records, and I'm going to bring in Bob Murphy right now, my cohort here tonight. And Bob, the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the Harbin rankings, because this game tonight has implications of Harbin's big time, and it's interesting what the top 11 look like. So we're going to take a look at those Harbins, and we're going to talk a little bit as we look at them of how things are going to shake out here. So hopefully they will be up here and they are up right now. So there you go. Now you got Cole Rain tonight, Bob, and I'm going to get your kind of predictions and everything. They're playing Oak Hills tonight. They already got a home field advantage. So I guess that one we kind of throw out, right?
Yeah,
they're in.
They should win tonight also.
They should win. Okay, you've got Springboro. Now they're 9-0. They're playing Lebanon, and they're at Lebanon 6-3. It's not going to be an easy battle.
Lebanon started real well, and they've fallen on hard times lately. I give the nod to Springboro tonight in that game.
As far as Elder goes, and by the way, Springboro and Elder have already clinched playoff spots now. I think, Bob, tonight for Lakota West, this is the most important game right now. They play LaSalle tonight. And it's at home. It's at the pit there. And I think it's big because if Elder wins, Lakota West could be playing them into Pitt. If LaSalle wins, that's going to be big in Harbin points.
Big second-tier points for Lakota West. Knocking off LaSalle early.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's almost a toss-up right there in the pit. But, I don't know, you almost have to give a little bit of edge to Elder right there. How about Moeller? Now, Moeller's sitting in that fourth position. They're going to play Louisville Trinity. They're 8-0, and that's going to be tough.
Trinity is one of the top teams in the country. St. Xavier went down to Trinity, gave them all they could handle, 14-13. They lose. But because of our system here with our Harbin rankings, St. Xavier gets nothing for that. That's why we don't see them on our screen.
Yeah.
But Moeller really going to have their hands full. A win down there, Moeller can jump up to maybe 2 or 3.
Right. Okay, now we have Dayton Wayne up here, Huber Heights Wayne. They're 7-2. They have a tough game. They're at Northmont tonight up there, and those are two big rivals up there in the Dayton area. So I don't know. Wayne's going to have their hands full tonight.
Another tight battle up in the Dayton area.
Well, we know about Lakota West, who they're going to play tonight. So we'll skip ahead to Sycamore right now. Sycamore 8-1. They're playing tonight at home against Mason. That Mason team is good, and believe it or not, Mason all the way down, I think they're 15th in the Harbins. They still have a mathematical shot at it.
Yeah, they do. There's a slight, just a shining glimmer of hope for Mason. It all starts with them having to beat Sycamore.
Right, exactly. So then we come to Miamisburg. They're sitting in the 8th position. Now, Miamisburg is the one I think is really on the bubble, and I think it could fall off the bubble. They're 6-3. They're playing West Carroll, which is a Division II team, which is only a 3-6 record. That's not going to help.
Less points, less second-level points. Miamisburg has to win and hope they don't get jumped over.
Right. And speaking of getting jumped over, right behind them is Loveland at 5-4. They're in a situation too, Bob, where they're playing Milford tonight 1-8. So they're not going to get much out of it. They should win the game, but I don't know if it's going to help them that much. So you mentioned St. Xavier. We don't have it up there on the screen, but St. Xavier is in the 10th spot, and they play St. Xavier tonight. Louisville, right. St. Xavier, 6-3. We see the bands down there in the field, right in the Lakota West band. But they play St. X at 6-3, and I don't know. That's going to be a tough one for them tonight.
It's tough all around. Great night. I mean, it works out perfect. Last night of the season, all these key games tonight. I wish we could be at every one of them.
Yeah, I know. And, of course, the East and West battle. Now, West is sitting in that 11th position right now, mathematically still alive. They obviously are going to have to win the ball game tonight, okay, to get in. But not only do they have to win, they're going to have to get some help.
Yeah, they're going to have to get help. So, and everyone that's not in already needs help tonight. So, but as a coach, all you do is tell your kids, we take care of our business, go out and win the game. Whatever happens after that happens.
And I think that's what the coaches alluded to, is said, they got to take care of the business at hand and then sit back and just have to see what happens here. West, there is some projections. I know Steve Shuck said this week if West loses this game, they're out. So, and I'm not sure. I mean, that's not 100% that they're out, but obviously that's not going to help them out.
No, it's not. You win, especially down at the end. When you're already in, you just keep winning.
All right, Bob, you've been around coaching, been around television here for a while, and you've seen a lot of battles like this. This is your first East-West battle and everything, and your thoughts on a game like tonight in a game such as this.
Well, I think games like this are just, it's just so emotional for the kids. They're so jacked up and pumped up to play because they've been like we saw in the interview with the coaches. They played with each other and against each other for so many years that they know all their strengths and weaknesses. They know who's done what, who can do what, and the winner gets to have bragging rights until next year, and that really plays big for these kids.
Especially if you're in your, the bragging rights is the person in the next yard or over from
yeah,
you too.
Right. When you put your banner out, they have to take theirs down because you lost.
Well, I think they have a lot of things going on. They've had a lot of things going on with the schools this week. They had a canned good drive. They're trying to see who's bringing in most canned goods. I think the principals have got between the East and West have got bets going here about certain things they have to do. So it's a great week for the school district and everything, and it's great to have a game like this.
It's a super way to end the season or to start the postseason, as Coach Cox said.
All right, well, we'll have to see how it goes. So that's it for this week at Lakota Sports Watch. Thanks to Eric Johan. He's been behind the camera right here, and Mike Lyons for his help putting everything together, and also to the coaches, Rick Haynes and Larry Cox. Don't go away. Bob and I will be back for the game.